Did Barack Obama have his own enemies list? The sheer mention in the media 4 years ago that Richard Nixon kept tabs on those who didn't like him ignited immediate fury. A lot less of that today, but Gretchen Hamel says the issue is no less relevant today. The most powerful man in the world, or his surrogates, using all the forces at their disposal, whether it's the IRS looking after conservative groups or the Justice Department targeting AP reporters. Something is foul here. Gretchen is a privacy advocate. We also got Tea Party Katrina Pearson. Let's talk a little bit, Gretchen, about how big this is getting here, because this AP reporter thing is just the latest news. We're talking the Justice Department, we're talking the IRS, we're talking a lot of pressure put on folks who might not take kindly to that, and clearly don't. What do you mean?
And right now you have the president who's got a major crisis happening. He's got everything from Benghazi to the IRS to now the Associated Press. He's got a credibility problem that is erupting right now. And this abuse of power cannot become the status quo. And I think it just reinforces the reason of why we need these watchdog organizations. They were targeting groups that had government spending or wants to make America a better place and their reforms. They were targeting those people, the watchdog groups. This just reinforces the need for those groups.
Katrina, this latest development on AP reporters, I mean, nothing gets reporters in the mainstream media's attention like, going after me too? We can deal with you going after the right-wing groups. We can deal with you going after the Tea Parties. We can even deal with you lying about any of the above. But when you go after us, that's a whole other matter. Could that be a turning point?
Well, I mean, we've always discussed this in the beginning of the Tea Party movement, as eventually the media will also become a target of the administration, because the target here is just power, ultimate power over everything. I've been on your show several times trying to warn the American people about what is going on with this administration, Neil. How many scandals does it take to wake up the American people to let them know that our country is heading down a very dangerous path?
You know, Gretchen, it does call into question who and what can you believe, right? I mean, the president's comments on Benghazi then versus now raise at the very least that he was ignorant at the time. So that's not a great defense, as I raised with John McCain. The other is the old Chicago politics of keeping your enemies on watch. That is where it gets kind of scary, no?
No, I mean, right now I think there's going to be a big breach in this trust that we all have with the government, right? I mean, government doesn't have a great approval rating to begin with. Congress has, like, barely any approval whatsoever from the American public. You're going to see President Obama's numbers probably go down because of this. And you're going to have to see that trust in government that we should all have. We should be able to trust our government and trust them to do the right thing. I think you're going to have a lot of Americans, questioning that. And as this story evolves, I think we're going to learn more and more and more. And I think you're going to see this become a real issue that's going to be playing into the 2014 election.
Do you think, Katrina, this extends like Watergate, that it's a drip of information? Like, I mean, I remember when those hearings started, the argument was, well, this was actually a left-wing cabal to topple a U.S. president, Republican president, in this case Richard Nixon. The same seeing it said inverse now. But when this extends to the degree it has to the IRS targeting groups, the Justice Department allegedly targeting reporters, it's much bigger than that, is it not?
Well, absolutely, Neil, it's much bigger. But the interesting thing is, and I actually brought our IRS return from the Dallas Tea Party, dated back in January 2012, by which we still do not have our status. But it's interesting, though, the timing, which is what's really the conspiracy here. It was leaked out on Friday, just on the cusp of all this Benghazi discussion. Is there another conspiracy to cover up the cover-up? Who knows what's going on here? So it's very important that we don't refocus on the shiny object in the room and make sure that not only this IRS scandal gets uncovered, but that the Benghazi investigation is fully investigation.
All right. Thank you guys very, very much. In the meantime, the White House is